Fashion for Good. It is the world's first interactive sustainable fashion experience, situated in the heart of Amsterdam. Here, you learn how your clothes are currently made and how they will be made in the future. And their goal of this experience is very clear as well, and that is to change people's behavior concerning sustainable fashion. So, the experience starts in a hall, where you're given a tech bracelet which you can use to save your actions throughout the building. And when walking through the building, you will notice that there are elements that you can put your bracelet on so it will save your action. There are also touch elements, such as the two different types of cotton, raw and clean, to really get a feel of the different materials. So in one of the rooms, you can write down your own commitment to contribute to sustainable fashion. For example, I said to only buy clothes that come from fair trade brands. After I've gone through all the rooms, you could go to a type of kiosk and scan your watch there to see all of your actions that you've saved up. And then they give you tips and tricks to live an even more sustainable fashion lifestyle, such as bringing your own bag to the grocery store. And then they send this to your email, if you fill in your email, of course. To begin with, I am quite a stubborn person, and this means that I'm not quickly convinced about something that I'm not currently part of, and in this case, the extreme sustainable trend. So when entering the experience, I was really skeptical of that they would force a certain behavior or idea to me, which surprisingly, they did not do. The experience was just there to inform me about the important differences between fast fashion and sustainable fashion. And in the end, it is all up to you if you decide to choose that sustainable path or not. Other people who I had a discussion with I was quite surprised to know that they were mostly people that were interested in changing their habits, interested in how fast fashion is destroying the clothing world and how new materials could be used in the future. And I also talked to some volunteers working there because I was really wondering if this experience actually changed people's behavior. They said they did, but they were quite unsure because they can't really measure that. But they were not hesitant about the fact that it is really about the educational part side of it, that people are aware of the problem and how creative insights can change the fashion world. The goal here is to create a connection and eventually a long-lasting relationship with the audience. Primarily, the educational connection is used because the experience simply educates its audience about fashion sustainability. They want to make people aware about the negative impacts of fast fashion to the planet and people, and to induce a certain behavior, which is to primarily think about what type of clothes you are buying, preferably sustainable clothing. How much control does Fashion for Good exert, and how much freedom does it leave for its audience? Looking at this experience, you do get a lot of freedom to walk around the 3 levels, which are very open. However, in the beginning, the receptionist did advise you to start at the bottom floor and work your way up, because the bottom was about the history of the clothing production, the ground floor about the current situation, and the top floor about the future. The control level, therefore, is moderate high control because of the use of gamification, the bracelets, and low control because of the freedom that is given to you. The content that Fashion for Good distributes is not much. They mostly let the location and experience speak for itself. However, there is use of social media, such as YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, and of course their website. The currency can be best described as an audience interacting with the company and getting an experience in return. And in this case, the behavioral currency is mostly used because in order to get access to a certain experience, for example, the kiosk with personal tips at the end, you need to participate in the activities that are present in the building. The ultimate goal of a company is to convert someone to something, for example, a buyer. The conversion that Fashion for Good aims for is the sales conversion, because you're able to buy their sustainable clothes. But the one that is most important is the awareness conversion, because Fashion for Good wants to purely create awareness about sustainable fashion. The strong points of Fashion for Good are that it is accessible for everyone and it triggers all senses. It follows a storyline based on the history, current state, and the future of fashion, which is nicely supported by touchable and hearing elements. However, the things that they could work on is the fact that the building is so open and light that you first don't know where to go and to which room you need to go first. So I advise Fashion for Good to maybe implement a journey booklet or even faux footsteps on the floor, just to simply guide the audience throughout the building. And to highlight the problem about non-sustainable fashion even more, Fashion for Good could use more shocking stories about the fashion industry, such as the very poor working conditions in factories or such. Because I personally felt that the experience was a very, maybe too positive and light place. So taking a quick look at the experience, Fashion for Good is worthwhile to visit, and I encourage everyone to do so, even when you're not as interested in the topic as I was.